So Dan to Dan season 1 has ended, with season 2 coming in July, and it's been a hell of a roller coaster ride, I have to say.
You're in for one heck of a ride.
Plenty of ups, awesome animation, scenes that offend those who can't distinguish between reality and fiction, a hot granny with the coolest demeanor ever who deserves waifu of the year, a pervert ghost granny obsessed with someone's junk, leading to the most comical plot that a series can offer. And along with the ups came many downs, which I think really gave the show its soul, keeping it grounded, full of emotional depth, that while ghost granny is a pervert, she has a heart who cares for the lost souls of abused woman, that while a delusional mother ghost was willing to tear the scene apart to claim her long lost daughter, a somber sad backstory convinced us of what would drive her to do so. This show is a perfect blend of comedy, action, compelling characters, pacing, character motivation, with a solid foundation of meaningful themes. Dan to Dan is truly one of a kind. Now for this video, I want to dive into Ken's, or Okarun's, growth. Ken is someone who just wants a friend, bullied his whole life to the point bullies are as common as the sunrise in the morning, and with one good deed from Momo, his whole life changed. Hopeful that through her, he's finally gained a friend. After they become familiar through circumstance when fighting off Ghost Granny, there's a scene where they're about to say bye to each other. There's a realization that there's no longer an obligation for them to hang out anymore, and in Ken's expression, it's quite sad, and what I read into it was that he assumes life will go back to normal now, back to his lonely, bullied life hoping for a friend, and that Momo's too popular to hang out with him if it's not out of necessity. And I'm just rooting for him, saying, yo, you defeated a whole ghost. If you achieve that, then you can summon up the courage to just ask her out, or at least just say, I see you tomorrow at school. But Momo, seeing how down he looks, takes the initiative to do so instead, loving his company just as much as he does with her. Next day in school, he's waiting by a pole at the entrance, clearly plotting how he'll greet Momo, overthinking it way too much. But I've been there before, trying to script a whole conversation with a girl line for line, so I get it. But he sees her waiting at the entrance as they lock eyes. She waves to him, but he assumes it's not to him, still having a huge inferiority complex, like he's not worthy of attention. He decides to walk towards her, head down, no sign of serotonin at all, assuming she's waiting for somebody else. And I'm thinking, oh, come on, man, don't do this. Is this going to be one of those tropes where the characters clearly feel something for each other, but don't voice them or act in opposite of their feelings? Then it leads to this big misunderstanding where one of the characters thinks the other hates and are trying to avoid them, and leads to an unnecessary subplot. But luckily, Momo probably thinks that he thinks she's too popular for him and is just trying to do her a favor, but takes the initiative again and simply just says hi to him. And that alone is just a shock to him. The fact that she's conversing with him in public, he can't get over. And I was relieved that at least they talk to each other. Then Ken gets shoved and bullied again, like he's just wasted space getting in other people's way. And this reminded me, oh, of course, no wonder why he's so timid and feeling undeserving of anyone's attention, let alone Momo's, because the only time he's receiving attention is when he's getting bullied. So I had to put myself in his shoes for that one and ease my frustrations a bit. Now, fast forward to when he's much more comfortable around Momo. He's met with her old childhood friend Gigi, whom he perceives as competition. He is very discouraged by their familiarity, how he can easily make her laugh, how they look like a perfect match for each other. He looks cool and athletic, and Momo is beautiful, so them being together makes sense. And this demoralizes him so much that not only does he assume she won't like him romantically, but that he'll even lose her as a friend now. But not until he sees a science lab statue profess his love to a female statue and becomes inspired by such a declaration of love, showing an expression of conviction, like if you love someone, you fight for them to know it regardless of the competition. So he makes it a thing that whenever he sees Gigi and Momo are getting too close, he'll interrupt and take the initiative to get her attention instead. And he makes it a thing not to hold back from. Now, while I love this arc of shown growth in him, he does go from one extreme to the other in showing it, from always head down, quiet, taking no initiative, to abrupt, loud, and taking the initiative no matter how disruptive it may be, which in reality just isn't the way to do it. You have to find the right balance and manner of doing so. But this is fiction, and what gives Dan to Dan its humor, so it's funny and entertaining to laugh at, and he remains adamant in doing so, which eventually I'm sure he'll probably mature into integrating that part of himself naturally into his personality personality, or it doesn't come off extreme or animated, but just natural. So yeah, like I said, Ken has a whole arc of who he was before to who he is now, and I love to see it. I love to root for him. He's my guy and I want to see the best for him. Now, something or someone I would love to see more of is, of course, my girl, Hot Granny, or Seiko. Not just because she's waifu, of course, but I just think she's cool as shit, yo. Plus, her powers look cool, but we didn't really get to see too much of them. Shout out to the future cosplayers of her outfit. And I would love to see more of her in that way, but I'm sure we will in season 2. And Ira was cool too. At first, she did Ken dirty by playing with his emotions, which Momo took care of her for that, so shout out to Momo for that. And Ira fell in love with Ken obsessively, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of her in season 2 as well. But yeah, overall, I loved it. Most likely anime of the year, but at least of the season, no doubt. So great show. Japan really delivered with this one. And Tatu is an exceptional storyteller and an inspiration for me to draw from. But that's all I have for this video. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Anime of the year, the season, what do you think? If you haven't already, check out my music on Spotify, link in the description. If you enjoy those Samurai Champloo, lo-fi mellow boom bap vibes, then my music is definitely for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Free think. Peace.